So today's journey started out from Durham. Nice shiny day. Always been getting good weather. Been fortunate in that. But you can see in North Carolina how it's open. It's just a nice place to be. I like to think back to all the history that's happened here. About all the, battles. You'll see it all over the place. General so-and-so stayed here. There was a skirmish here. It seems that the Civil War was mostly fought in North Carolina. And that's nothing to say, nothing to be too shabby about, and if you want to learn about it. And you can kind of get a feel for the land. They have these two-lane roads with a divider there, and you can get kind of more intimate if you get off and get into some of the other things. I was headed west. By this time, I had actually realized something, that I've almost visited a brew pub in almost every state. So I was headed west because I knew there was a state, West Virginia, the Green State, or whatever they call it, that I hadn't been to a brew pub in, so I decided to head on out there. As you're going, you can actually start to see kind of the big green mountains start to come out of the distance. A lot of this has to do with just the Appalachian Trail and some of the roads that are on there. The Blue Ridge Highway, they're also called the Smoky Mountains. It's actually really great to see, and it's so green, especially at this time of year, which is late summer. It is something that's actually worthwhile that I think everyone should, try and visit. Because if you don't visit every state, how do you really know what the state's actually like? Far too many people just kind of presume they know. Not that I really knew what I was going to be getting into, but there were long stretches where it was just the road and you could just sit there with your thoughts, enjoying things. I actually do think that this is one of the best ways to kind of spend your time and just kind of with your thoughts going along. Now, unfortunately, I don't have it in music or something like that, but there's always interesting things. the interesting things I could see. If you look here, the car that I'm coming up on, there's a dog that's practically half out of the car. It was quite interesting to see, and it had me concerned, but no one else, the owner didn't seem to be that worried, and I guess the dog does it a lot. So, hey, it was an interesting sight to see, but to go deeper into the mountains. Odd thing it is, I don't really know too many cities in West Virginia, so where I was going to stop was definitely going to be surprising. And eventually I did get somewhere, and I did find a brewery. It was really worthwhile, and I would recommend anybody to just check out West Virginia. Unfortunately, it's got too much of a reputation because of Deliverance, but that's really not really much that true anymore. It's a place where there are a lot of small towns, a lot of people, a lot of independent people, a lot of people really nice and willing to talk to you. It is definitely a place worth visiting and seeing everything out there. I saw a bunch of Grand Canyon kind of areas. I saw a bunch of stuff that I would catch up on the next day. But this was definitely worthwhile to take a jaunt out here. Funny things when you're out in West Virginia, you know, there's sights because, well, let's face it, the West Coast gets all the attention with all their national parks, but there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like out here, I saw big canyons, I saw a lot of stuff that I'm just like, I didn't know a whole lot about. National parks, tours, this is just, there's a lot to actually do out here that you don't really hear about. And, you know, hey, it's West Virginia, so obviously that counts for something. These big, huge roads, and there's actually a bunch of construction. I don't quite get it, but hey, building's building, and it's worthwhile to check out. Unfortunate thing was The weather did kind of catch up to me by the end of the ride, and I did find some rain. It actually did force me off the highway and onto some more secondary roads, which is good in its own place. And eventually, if you know anything, once you get wet and you're soaked, there's not really much else the rain can really do to you from there. So you might as well just keep trudging on.